Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Just Cuz TV channel. My name's Anthony, and in this video, we have got the Week 3 NFL game-by-game pick'ems, survivor picks, all that good stuff for you. As always, I am joined by the co-founder of the channel, Steve. What's going on, man?
Hey, everybody, what's going on?
Recording on a Wednesday today. Just heads up, everybody. So a little bit behind this week. Totally cool. Totally cool. Get that out of the way early.
Words are hard.
Yeah, right. And then we are also joined by our special guest on our NFL shows every week, Dr. West. What's going on, man?
What's going on, brother Anthony?
It's not cousin Anthony this week. It's brother
No, it's
Anthony.
brother Anthony.
We're gonna next week. I want to be Uncle Anthony, just so you know. Keep that in mind. Welcome back, everybody. If you haven't yet, check out our preseason show. We got a lot of fire takes here. We'll get into those with Steve and Dr. Wes. Just a reminder: hit the like button, give us a subscribe. We're gonna have this show every single week for you guys, including a bunch of other awesome things that we got rolling out. If you guys are ready, let's go ahead and hop into it. You guys ready to go? Week 3?
Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, we always start off with, unfortunately, I will say, the prior week results. And as you can see right there, Dr. West not starting to run away with it, but if you're looking for some money line hot takes, Dr. West has got them. How you feeling about this so far?
I told you guys, follow me to the promised land.
He's going to lead you, Steve.
gonna
We
say it
got
every week.
follow West. He's clearly, I mean, Steve tied you last week, so.
Yeah, we'll see how that continues.
He said, nah.
It's even blind squirrels find nuts, I suppose. So
That's right.
Look, it's a long season. We got a lot of takes to be had here. All right,
Why don't you tell the viewers about your parlay, Anthony? I mean, you're the one that cashed in, right?
That is very true. I hit a 8-team money line parlay last week on the DK Sportsbook, which, by the way, is where we pull all of our odds and all that awesome stuff. So turned, $120 into more than $1,000. So of the 11 games I picked, I just happened to pick the right ones as part of my parlay. So
you got the last laugh.
I will take that. Absolutely. Let's see if we can turn that into some more cash this week, shall we?
Let's go.
Perfect. Let's get it kicked off with our Thursday night game. We've got the Battle of Florida, the Miami Dolphins traveling to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Miami comes in 0-2, Jacksonville 1-1. The spread is a field goal. Home favorite for Jacksonville at -3. Talk about a game to start off our NFL week, right? Miami kept it close versus the Bills at home last week, while the Jaguars were a field goal away from being 2-0, surprisingly. Dr. West, who do you got in this Thursday night Florida showdown?
Well, I actually feel the opposite about this game. I'm kind of actually excited about it because they're both equally bad, and I think this will be a shootout. I'm excited. I think, like I said, both teams are relatively bad. I think we were maybe wrong about the Jags at the beginning of the year, how we thought they were a complete dumpster fire. There appears to be bigger dumpster fires in the league, and they're contending. That being said, coming off 2 losses, the Dolphins got to get something done. I'm going to take the Dolphins. I like them with the +3 spread. I just think they're a more complete team. And nobody's going to be surprised by Gardner Minshew anymore.
Okay. Steve, how do you feel about this game? Do you agree with Dr. West?
It's a weird game. No one would have looked at this game beginning of the year and thought, hooray! And I still don't, to be honest. But Jackson, what is Jacksonville doing? Who is this team? Like, what the hell are they doing winning games? Like, what is wrong with them? This is a pick'em kind of game for me. They're the +3 spread at home. You could throw it up, take it or leave it. I wouldn't bet any money on this, but they've been surprising me, so I'm gonna go with the Jaguars.
Jaguars. You know what's really funny is that, to my own personal dismay, the Jacksonville Dumpster Fires have looked like okay so far this year. They've been carried by Gardner Minshew, and he has 6 pass touchdowns, which is tied for second in the NFL right now. I don't believe it. I do not believe it. It's kind of insane. Again, I didn't expect very many things from Jacksonville this year, but I just think being at home, I think they might wipe the Dolphins here. I don't understand how Jacksonville's winning games, but they're going to somehow get to 2-1 in this game. I don't understand. I just don't understand. That's the Thursday night game. Let's go ahead and get to our Sunday night games. And before we do that, I have a quick question for you guys. Is everyone's ACL still intact? Are we good?
Man,
barely.
But yeah.
What a dangerous week to walk out the door.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like I'm in danger doing anything. everyone's ACL is in danger.
Yeah, clearly, like offensive guys making tackles, tearing ACLs, bad fields, tearing ACLs.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, poor San Francisco. They're still going to be playing in, New Jersey there. Again, we'll get to
Right.
that. We'll get to that, though. We'll get to that. Let's hop back in here. Everyone's ACLs are good. That's good. Can't say the same for a lot of NFL players, so that's very unfortunate. But we now get to the first game of Sunday. We got the Chicago Bears traveling to the surprising, if you saw the game against Dallas last week, 0-2 Falcons. Chicago starts off the season 0-2 after wins versus the Lions and the Giants. They do get a little bit more of a firm test this week with the surprisingly, as I mentioned, 0-2 Falcons after they were up 39-30 with roughly 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter last week versus the Cowboys. Shades of the Super Bowl versus the Patriots, right? Had that feeling to it. Steve, I'm excited to hear your take on how this game's going to go.
The Falcons just find ways to lose games. Like, did everyone see that onside kick? Because I watched it and thought, what the F are you doing? Like, go get the ball, dude.
That was Pee-wee football at its best right there.
Oh, yeah. It's like, you ever watch like a 5-year-old soccer game where they all just chase the ball? Like, that's what that was. Like, it was insane how.
That was a slick kick, though.
It was good, but there's no, like, the Falcons can touch the ball as soon as it hits the ground. Like, as soon as he kicks it, touch the ball. Yeah. There's no reason not to. Like, why would you just even give the other team a chance to touch it? Like, it blows.
Go get the ball!
Right. Get it! So, and the Chicago Bears, they're surprising me. I clearly was not, none of us were on the Mitch Trubisky train. He kind of still barely resembles a quarterback, but having a decent defense, and with really the Falcons with no defense whatsoever, if you can put up, like, you have any resemblance of an offense with a pretty good defense, you're going to be able to beat that team, even at home. Surprisingly, I will have to go with the Chicago Bears this week.
Ooh, Bears getting to 3-0 for Steve. Wow. Yeah, Dr. West, do you agree?
I don't. I'm not. So I'm going to say I'm not the expert of the Falcons. I've gotten them wrong every single week. I was taking victory laps at halftime last week, though. I was like, oh, yeah, the great call. And they just completely shat the bed. I think Dan Quinn's got to go. He just can't. He has so much talent on that team, and he just can't get it done. That being said, I just don't. I see this as a trap game where people are looking at the records and seeing a 2-0 team versus an 0-2 team, and I don't think that accurately reflects the teams on the field. So I'm going to take the Falcons. I think they are overall the better team. They can, if it's a shootout, I mean, I expect that Falcons will be able to outrace the Bears.
Yeah, it has a good DFS feel to it, right? Atlanta at home. I mean, we'll see how it goes, but there is no way Atlanta can choke this game away again, right? Like,
you think so?
There's no way. Yeah, you would think that exactly, but I just cannot see a world where Chicago gets to 3-0 and Atlanta gets to 0-3. If this happens, I don't want to live in this world. I'm not a fan of it. Something's wrong here. I will have to take the Falcons just based off the fact that Chicago just cannot get to 3-0 with Mitch Trubisky at quarterback. I just can't see it. It just can't happen.
It's a world I don't want to live in, but it's a world that I'm fairly confident will be happening.
Yeah, it's a world that we may occupy here very, very soon. That's for sure.
Welcome to 2020, friends.
Exactly. Atlanta does not instill confidence in anybody at this point, I feel like.
Yeah, where a Matt Ryan-led Falcons team is 0-3, where a Mitch Trubisky-led Bears team is 3-0.
Yeah.
That doesn't describe 2020. I don't know what does.
You're very much right. But I will say this is good. We haven't had any sweeps yet through 2 games, guys. This is awesome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
We have some variance here. This is fantastic. Let's see if that trend continues. We've got the Rams traveling to Buffalo. Both teams come into this game 2-0, a battle of the 2-0 teams. The spread, a minuscule. Buffalo's a home favorite, home 2-point favorite. The over-under set at 47.5. The Rams last week, they steamrolled the Eagles 37-19, while Buffalo actually just barely took care of the Dolphins on the road 31-28. Josh Allen comes into this game with a league-leading 728 passing yards through 2 games, while the Rams, they're only allowing 18 points a game. That's third best in the league. Dr. West, something has got to give here. Who are you taking?
I think that I'm going to take the Rams. I thought about this for a long time. I would take the Rams +2 as well. I think that's a pretty good bet. I just haven't seen the Bills. They haven't been challenged yet. They haven't played any good teams. I don't think they're as good as their record indicates. I do think they are, a solid team. but Josh Allen leading the league in passing yards, you get that out of here. I think that Aaron Donald's going to be chasing him around. He's going to have to scramble for a lot of plays. And in the end, I think the Rams will squeak it out.
Steve, do you agree?
Short answer is no. So I was high on the Bills at the beginning of this year, and I'm still high on the Bills. I'm glad Josh Allen is finally taking some leaps and bounds forward, leading the league and passing yards. He's looked great. I'm hearing murmurs after 2 weeks of a potential MVP run for Josh Allen. Put me on that train. Put me on the Josh Allen train. The LA Rams got to come all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast. That very rarely goes well for West Coast teams. Even though there's no fans, it's still they still have to make that trip, especially with everything going on.
Well, actually, Steve, they stayed out there. They were in Philadelphia last week. They didn't have to travel, but the fact that they're not at home or didn't go home, I think is going to play a factor.
Right. Yeah, but you're right. Yeah. So even if they stayed out there, they're still, I like to go home. Do you like to go home? I do.
I love being at home.
Right. So it's great. I do it all the time now. So I was high on the Bills, and I'm going to stick with the Bills. I think the Bills win it.
Yeah, to piggyback off Steve, because the Rams, they are staying out east. And again, being at home is a huge factor when, COVID's a thing. You can't go out and not to say quote unquote blow off steam, but get out and go enjoy yourself. They're in this New York, Philadelphia triangle of COVID, not being able to do anything. They might be getting a little restless here. Couple that with the fact that Josh Allen has absolutely been on fire. They're coming home. I think the Rams slow down Josh Allen, but not to the extent that it causes a win for the Rams. I'm going to side with the Buffalo Bills here.
You guys are going against me a lot. Haven't you seen the record so far?
We got to do some catch up here, Dr. West. I mean, we got to do something here.
Going down.
I think I'm getting too confident.
Yeah, we can't let you get out to this huge of a lead, but I think I got something that might help here a little bit. We got the Washington West's Buckeyes traveling traveling to the Cleveland Browns. Both teams coming into this game at 500. They're 1-1. Cleveland a touchdown favorite at home, 7 points with an over/under set at 44. Honestly, in my opinion, if football had depression, this game would be the living embodiment of it. With both teams coming in at 1-1, Baker Mayfield did look a lot better versus the lifeless Bengals defense last week. Dr. West, we'll get to hear in just a second. But Steve, who you got being the first team to get to 2 wins out of these 2 in this game?
This is the Washingtons are making this a tough pick, right? So they're kind of a team right now, kind of on the upswing. I know the Browns are kind of riding high after that kind of smackdown of the Bengals, but I mean, come on, it's the Bengals. It's a tough one. I think 7 is. I think it's a huge spread for this game. I know clearly, everyone thinks that the Browns have a ton of talent, which they do, but it's the Browns, right? They just never seem to quite get it together. But saying that, It makes me nervous. The one time that I would go with the Washingtons, they'd come out here and not win it. So with that kind of spread, I look at it and think, maybe not. If I was betting money on the spread, I would take Washington. But I think at home, coming off a long week for the Browns, they're gonna have plenty of time to prepare. I think it's the Browns.
Dr. West, you just gonna stay there and take that, or are you gonna defend your Washington Buckeyes?
I'm going to completely disagree. I would. Okay, so listen, I don't know if it's a good pick to pick straight up, but if you're giving me 7 points, I would hammer that. In fact, Anthony, if you're going to be making any trips soon, I'll send you some money to make this bet because, okay, who should the Browns be a touchdown favorite against? I would take them with any team in the league. I don't know who the worst team in your opinion is in the league. Maybe
Jets.
The Jets?
Jets.
So I would take them +7 versus the Browns. There's no way the Browns should be a touchdown favorite against anybody.
Especially with this kind of lowish over-under, honestly.
Yeah, and they didn't cover the spread versus – they wouldn't cover that against the Bengals, and the Bengals are not good. I just don't see it. So by principle, I'm taking the Redskins. I think that the Browns can –
Whoa. What did you just call them?
Sorry. The Washingtons.
Whoa.
You can't do that,
Whoa,
sir.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Hey now.
Hang
I
on.
need to get woke.
Yeah, get one.
So by principle, I'm taking the Washingtons, but I don't feel strongly, on the money line. But I just imagine Chase Young just chasing around Baker Mayfield. That makes me happy, and so that's where I'm going.
That's going to put a smile on Dr. West's face. I'll tell you what won't put a smile on Dr. West's face. Maybe it will. I don't know. I'm going with Cleveland in this game. I just don't think this Washington team has a lot of life, unfortunately. I'm going to side with the momentum here in this game. Washington coming off a loss. Cleveland coming off a win. It was against the Bengals, obviously. We've seen them so far this year. Joe Burrow, again, hasn't looked terrible. We'll get to that. But at home, with momentum, I'm going to take Cleveland. Just gut feeling. I don't really have anything else to say about this game. I'm not a big fan of this game, honestly. Again, this game is the living embodiment of football depression, in my opinion. So, on that note, we'll get to a game where one team in this situation has a little bit of depression, I'm starting to feel like. Tennessee comes to Minnesota. The 2-0 Titans taking on the 0-2 Minnesota Vikings. And oh my, Minnesota, have they looked like hot garbage so far this year? They got blown out by the Packers week 1. They got blown out by the Colts week 2. Tennessee, on the other hand, they are 2 field goals away from being 0-2 themselves. They kicked 2 field goals in the last 2 minutes of their wins to beat the Broncos. Sorry, Steve. And the Jaguars so far. So, Dr. West, can the Vikings turn it around, or is it Derrick Henry's turn to feast?
I think they totally could turn it around. I think this is a trap game where people are, again, looking at a 2-0 team versus an 0-2 team. If you're just looking at their records, it doesn't really indicate what the teams are actually. I haven't completely lost faith in the Vikings, who I took to be the division winner, but I certainly am starting to think that I should have taken the Packers, who I also took the over on. That being said, I think that I'm going to just keep taking the Titans until somebody proves they can stop them from running Derrick Henry 30 times. The Vikings defense has not looked impressive, and I cannot see Kirk Cousins going and just winning this game. I think that Derrick Henry is just going to run it down their throat just like every other week, and it'll be a boring, low-scoring game. I would take the under on this game, but I think that the Titans prevail.
Yeah, this is one of those where I've said it every week. The Minnesota over-under every week is literally going to be 48 points. It's been 48 every week so far. It's 47.5 this week. The spread's a field goal. Shockingly enough, Tennessee has won both games by field goals so far. But Steve, do you agree with Dr. West here? Are you taking the Vikings?
Mike's okay. So Mike Zimmer has never had a losing season. Only in his first season as Vikings head coach, where he went 7-9. It's hard to imagine them going 0-3, and just they've got to get it together at some point. I don't know if it's against the Titans, but I feel like they have to do something to get it right. And I don't mean to keep going against Wes here to make it interesting, but I just think that I don't think it'll be a pretty game. I don't think it'll be a particularly good game. Kirk Cousins is an incredibly average quarterback, as he keeps showing. But he's okay. So they've got to get it together sometime. So why not this week?
Yeah,
I think you have picked against me on every single one.
You're welcome.
There's going to be a big swing next week.
Wow, someone's taking a huge lead here, I feel like. And, the fact that I'm siding with Steve, again, does not bode well for our chances. Yeah, this is so weird that either West is going to be up by 13 games after 3 weeks or down by 7, it feels like, at this point.
You're either getting crushed or jumping way ahead.
Yeah, well, we'll see. This is a good. I'm really excited for this week now. Like last week, we had 12 games where we all picked the same. We've got some dissension here, which is always fantastic. It means the games they should all be good. I feel like. Regarding this game, Minnesota, they were my pick to win the NFC North. They're gonna have to win games like these to get there. The key this week, watch out. It's going to be Dalvin Cook in the run game and keeping the ball away from the Titans offense. Last week, James Robinson ran all over the Titans, and the Titans escaped with a win. So Dalvin Cook can get there. I'd say begrudgingly, but not so much. I'm taking the Vikings to throw it in the Titans' face and win by a field goal this week. I'm taking it. Winning by a field goal. Let's go. Come on, Minnesota. You got to get on the board a little bit. You got to do something here. You just look dead so far to start the season.
Right.
We got to do something. Speaking of two teams that have shown a little bit more life, we've got the Las Vegas Raiders 2-0 traveling to Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots. New England is a 5.5-point home favorite with an over-under set at 48. Pretty standard so far this season. In a move that no one saw, the Raiders have began the season 2-0, while Cam Newton and the Patriots were a 1-yard sneak away from beating the Seahawks, a la reverse Super Bowl, and getting to 2-0. See how they did get a little bit of revenge for that Super Bowl blunder where they, haha, why don't you run the ball with Marshawn Lynch? They didn't do that. They got Cam Newton got stopped on the 1, and now I think the Patriots are going to take that out on the Raiders. The Patriots should be 2-0. There's going to be a little bit of a Monday night hangover, I feel like, with the Raiders after they won their inaugural home game against the Saints. Big game for them. But I think that this is the week they're going to take the L. The Patriots, they've been looking pretty dang good. They should roll the Raiders, I feel like, this week. Steve, do you agree, or can the Raiders get to 3-0 on the road?
The Raiders, as much as I hate to admit, have looked really, really good. Derek Carr may finally be getting some, his stuff together. I don't know if it's the move to Vegas. I don't know if he's been, hanging out with his coach, this offseason, trying to get his stuff together.
It's those Vegas buffets,
I agree
man.
with you. Right. Vegas heals all. The Patriots have looked really good. Cam Newton's has come out and said, if this year is not about money for him, it's about respect. When someone plays like that with a chip on their shoulder, it's hard to bet against them. I don't know if 5.5 points is quite the spread. And I know it's a tough one. I'm still, as I'm talking, I'm almost undecided. But you know what? I just to keep it interesting, and I think they can do it. I don't think it'll be a Rickroll, but I think it will be the Raiders.
Ooh, I did not see you going there. All right. Awesome. Dr. West, break this tie for us.
So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go opposite of Steve. I mean, I think the Patriots look so good. They are fun to watch. I think they're a well-rounded team. We were, at the beginning of the season, we were worried about their defensive players being missing. And guess what? Bill Belichick's just like, screw you guys. I'm just going to make a better defense without you. Cam Newton looks awesome. I really like them. It's going to be, I think before the season, we were thinking it was a 2-horse race. It was Chiefs and Ravens. And now I think it's a 3-horse race. It's Chiefs, Ravens, and Patriots in the AFC. That being said, I think that the Raiders, who would have thought that they were where they are now? I think that John Gruden should get the Coach of the Year award if he gets them to like 9 or 10 wins. Because if you just look at the roster, like who is good on their team? I don't know.
It's not a very elite style roster that you would expect. They got like Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs with Darren Waller. Yeah. Like that threesome is kind of carrying them right now.
Yeah. So traveling from Vegas on a short week to go play Bill Belichick, just like good luck. I'm taking the Patriots.
Agreed. Yeah, it's kind of, we've seen a reemergence, not necessarily of, Julian Edelman, who had a career high in yardage with Cam Newton in the second week they've been playing together after all those years with Tom Brady. And N'Keal Harry has got his stuff together, it looks like. So I'm excited. I'm really excited for the Patriots this year. They look really good so far.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're definitely more fun to watch compared to the Brady Patriots, in my opinion.
Hey now, I'm not going to touch on that. We're just going to move ahead. We're going to move on to the San Francisco 49ers staying place and taking on the at-home New York Giants. San Francisco comes in with a 1-1 record. They did see Joey Bosa tear his ACL last week, along with other injuries to Jimmy Garoppolo, Raheem Mostert, Tevin Coleman. While the Giants, on the other hand, they lost their main guy, their number one guy, Saquon Barkley, also to a torn ACL last week. Both teams are literally limping into this game. But Dr. West, who you got?
This is the game that I am most torn on for the entire week. It's like, what do you do with so many injuries? How do we quantify like the effect that Nick Bosa being out of that defensive line, how is that going to change things? How is Nick Mullins going to be? I mean, we've seen it before with Garoppolo out. I don't think Garoppolo's a superb quarterback, but Nick Mullins, I mean, I don't know. But then you got the Giants without Saquon. Like, what are they going to do? Mm-hmm. Their defense is atrocious. You got so many factors going back and forth. So if I were betting, I would take the points just because I'm torn, but I guess I'm going to have to take the 49ers but I have no great conviction about that at all.
Yeah, this game smells weird in my opinion. Steve, do you agree with Dr. West in this instance?
Yeah, it's hard as just injury riddled as San Francisco has been affected. This past couple weeks, they at least have a talented roster that the next guy up should be able to come up and cover for them. With the Giants and the fact that you lost your best player and you don't have anyone to replace him, I did see Devontae Freeman is going to sign with him. I think he's a good back, but he is certainly no Saquon Barkley. And Daniel Jones, if I'm them, I'm just stacking the box and be like, hey, Daniel Jones beat me. If he comes out and does it, cool, but I just don't see it happening. I think the 49ers are still too good, even with all those injuries. So I think the 49ers win.
Yeah, I think I saw that Sterling Shepard also got put on the IR this week. New York is depleted. They're getting Golden Tate back, but I don't know how much that's going to help. Evan Ingram is okay, but I still think, like Steve said it perfectly, next man up for the 49ers should be able to easily beat this Giants team. I'm not looking forward to watching this game. I think it's going to be a train wreck. More injuries maybe on this same field for San Francisco, which is a scary thought as well. But our first sweep, I think, right, guys? We're all taking the 49ers?
First time Steve has agreed with me, anyways.
Yeah, we got a sweep. You know what that means? Giants are going to win this game.
Get out the broom.
Get out the broom. All right. Speaking of the broom so far, we've got the anti-sweep. The Bengals, they are 0-2, traveling to the also 0-2 Philadelphia Eagles. Oh boy. Guys, we got a fun one here. I know Dr. West is extremely happy to see the Bengals 0-2, but they are now traveling to Philly to take on, as I mentioned, the 0-2 Philadelphia Eagles after losses to the Washingtons and the Los Angeles Rams. The Eagles, they get a little bit easier of a test here, I think, with the Bengals coming to town. So, Dr. West, we'll get to you here in just a second. But, Steve, which team will avoid the 0-3 start?
I don't know what the Eagles are doing. But it is the Bengals. Like, just I'll let West take most of this. So I'll try to keep this short and sweet. But again, it is the Bengals. I think Burrow looks good. I think he'll come out and he'll win. He'll win a couple games. But I think this week it is the Eagles. I think the Bengals stay 0-3 winless. So I think the Eagles win.
Oh boy, Dr. West, I know right where you're going with this. Let's go. Get
Do
it out.
you? I don't know, because I don't know where I'm going.
Okay.
See, the problem is, like, what the hell are the Eagles doing? I get them wrong all the time. I mean, granted, I did take them to lose to the Washington Buckeyes, but it's just so frustrating. They should be better than what they're doing. And the Bengals, I mean, they're just doing Bengals things. I mean, so as a Bengals fan, the best thing I ever did was bet the Bengals under, because now I'm not upset about them losing games. I'm going to win money because of their incompetence. And so far it's panning out the way I thought. You'll remember, I don't want to come off as a Burrow basher, but I said he wouldn't be better than Dalton, and he hasn't been. If you put Dalton in this offense, it'd be the same exact story as what's going on right now. That being said, I think it'll be a relatively close game for both of these underperforming teams. On principle, I'm going to take the Eagles because I think they're a better overall team. But, like, seriously, they need to get their shit together.
It's currently very not together. But I will say, being the Bengals homer I have been for the past 2 weeks, I cannot tell you how disappointed I've been in them. Burrow,
how's that worked out?
Yeah, it has not worked out very well. It's put me 2 games behind just because of those 2 losses. I'm the only person that has been on the Bengals for the first 2 weeks. I'm going to let it be Steve's turn.
Well, I said the Eagles, so.
Oh, I thought you said the Bengals.
No.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm going to fire my editor then. So, I have taken the Bengals the first 2 weeks. They're one of the reasons why I'm so far behind. Miles Sanders in this game should be able to roll through this Bengals defense after the Browns gashed them for 215 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns last week. I love Miles Sanders in DFS this week. I love Miles Sanders to help the Eagles to a win this week. Therefore, I'm going to take the Eagles and watch the Bengals absolutely pull a win out of their butt this week and beat the Eagles. So,
man, if they do, I mean, granted, the NFC East is just a trash pit right now, but they're really going to be behind the 8 ball if they go 0-3.
Yeah, you know what's really funny about the NFC East is the Cowboys are, a miraculous fourth quarter away from the Washington team being 1-1, everyone else being 0-2.
Yeah.
Like
they're a
what?
dumpster.
What is this? What is this NFC East? Philly, get it together. Bengals, get it together. Do something. Though this game, fun stack for DFS. I will say this is
agree.
good. My fun stack game. I think both these defenses are bad. I think both these defenses are going to give up points, and surprisingly, I think both offenses can put up points. We saw what AJ Green had 13 targets last week. He only had 3 catches. I think I saw a stat. He's also leading the NFL in air yards through 2 weeks. That could be wrong. I could tell you wrong there, but yeah, I think AJ Green leading the NFL in air yards through 2 weeks, despite his poor performances. So if there's a time to turn it around, it's against the Eagles secondary.
That's
that being said,
they're not good.
It's not good. Yeah, plenty of points to be had. The over/under at 46.5. Free money, take the over. And on that note, we're going to move to, oh my goodness gracious, the 0-2 Houston Texans now traveling to the 2-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. The over/under set at 45, with Pittsburgh coming in as 4-point home favorites. But talk about a murderer's row to start the season for Houston, right? Away to Kansas City, loss. At home versus the Ravens, loss. Now they travel to Pittsburgh. So, Dr. West, can the Texans avoid an 0-3 start, or will Pittsburgh start off the season 3-0?
Well, what were the 2 bets that I made at the beginning of the season? Bengals under, Houston under. So far, it's panning out. I'm going to be real happy if they start out 0-3. I'm going to take the Steelers. I think the Steelers are just going to bludgeon them. I think that I've watched the Houston games, and their O-line is so terrible.
It's tragic.
It makes Joe Burrow appreciate his O-line. So I can't imagine I can't imagine Deshaun Watson not just running around. He's going to make a touchdown out of one of these scrambles, but he's just going to be running around like a wild man during this game. And I think that the Steelers are going to take it to him in a physical game.
Yeah, Steve, do you agree with Wes's take on Houston here?
Who hates Houston? Who decided to play? Yes. Okay. Well, clearly you work.
Who trades Hopkins for David Johnson?
It's not a great trade, but it's not looking quite as crazy as it did before. David Johnson has looked pretty decent in a couple games.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah. It's so, like, who hates them? Like, who decided, you have to play the 2 best teams? Maybe somebody's like, hey, let's see what they're made of. And clearly they're not made, of strong stuff. After all the injuries that we got last week, RIP to my Denver Broncos season, I will say that the Steelers are still the Steelers. They are still dirty. They still do mean, nasty things to people, and they still mess people up.
Yep.
So they
over under
they still,
1.5 ACLs torn during this game.
That's an over. Yeah. Deshaun Watson.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Right. Deshaun Watson, RIP. I think the Texans, they're probably going to prove me totally wrong and come out and like PP smack the Steelers, but I think this week it's the Steelers.
It's, in order to win these pick'ems, you're going to have to go on a couple limbs here. The Texans, they were my pick to win the AFC South. They're going to have to pick up a dub at some point, right?
This AFC South is not doing great. Well, I mean, the Titans are okay. I don't think they're as good as the record indicates, but
yeah,
the Colts are not as good as everybody thought.
Exactly. And then you saw the Jaguars, dumpster fire. Yeah. So, the Titans are 2 field goals away from being 0-2. So, I'm going on a limb here. I have no reason or statistical data to back up this pick other than the fact that I need something to come through for the Texans. And I think this is it, maybe? Not? I don't know. I have no idea. I got to do something here for the Texans. I'm just going to pick them this week blindly. No particular reason whatsoever. I'm looking forward to taking the L on this one, just like the Texans. And that will then move us to our 4 p.m. games on Sunday. Oh, my goodness. We got the New York Jets. They're unsurprisingly 0-2, traveling to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. The Colts are a monstrous 10.5-point home favorites with a particularly low over-under set at 43.5. Oh my goodness, this Jets team, they barely resemble a professional franchise, and now they're traveling to face the Colts after the Colts shut down the Vikings last week. Steve, can Indy maintain their momentum, or can the Jets pick up a surprise win here?
I think I'll start this off with saying I think Adam Gase will 100% be the first coach fired. He probably
Agreed.
So
he should 1,000% be already fired right now. There's no reason he has ever resembled any sort of competent head coach of any football team. I wouldn't let him coach my fantasy football team, let alone anything. They're bad.
You're starting Le'Veon Bell. Bench
He's
him.
bad. Right. He's got a hurt. You got a bad ankle. Yeah, get back in there. Give it the old college try there, friend. Yeah, no. He's bad. They're bad. Colts win.
Dr. West, what do you think?
I agree. There's not too much to be said. Jets are bad. I will say though, I have a feeling that Steve's going to take the Colts for Survivor. I don't know if that's true, but I have a feeling he is. And this seems like one of those games you have a few every year where it's like the spread is so huge and 90% of the people take that team for Survivor, just like they were with the Colts against the Jags first week. And it's like one of those games where the other team can squeak out a win somehow. It's fishy, but I'm going to use my brain and say the Colts.
Colts. It's really funny that you mentioned that. My note for this game said, this one's really easy, and I wish I had saved the Colts for my Survivor pick. So, I'll keep mine short and sweet. I'm going to take the Colts, and we're going to move on away from this train wreck of a football game.
More like team, but hey.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I totally agree. Speaking of train wrecks so far this year, we got Carolina traveling to take on the Chargers. The Chargers are roughly a touchdown favorite at home, 6.5 points with an over-under set at 44. Christian McCaffrey, he's on the shelf for, they just put him on IR today, so he's out for at least the next 3 weeks, but they're saying 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. While Chargers coaches, Anthony Lynn, he's claiming if Tyrod is healthy, he's the starter, despite Justin Herbert almost leading them to the victory against the Chiefs last week with 311 passing yards. Come to find out, the Chargers doctor stabbed a needle into Tyrod Taylor's lung and popped it, apparently. Very disastrous circumstances there. So, Dr. West, can Carolina get their first win of the season? Or, will the breathless Chargers get to 2-1?
The breathless Chargers. I like that. I mean, Anthony Lynn is not a good coach. He is, I don't know what the hell he is doing.
He's bad. Steve, will you agree Anthony Lynn is a bad coach as a Broncos?
Yes.
Yeah, he's horrible.
Justin Herbert looked so good. It was just fun to watch. I mean, he has a cannon for an arm. And granted, the Chiefs are not expecting to play against him, so they didn't have any tape to study, and their defense isn't that great to begin with, but it's better than Tyrod. This the possibilities that Herbert gives you compared to Tyrod is just so much better. Mm-hmm. So if this was any other team than Carolina, I would be taking them because I just don't think the Chargers are that good. But the Carolina is so bad; they're just putrid. So I'm going to take the Chargers, but I would not. I'd stay away from this game personally.
Yeah, Steve, I think you're leading the same way. Maybe.
It's Charger's gonna Charger, right? Like, are you gonna stab your own quarterback in the lung? Like, what is happening? Who are we? Where are we? 2020.
2020. Here it strikes again.
And I feel bad for Tyrod Taylor. I've always liked Tyrod Taylor. I don't particularly think he's a great quarterback, but I mean, he'll get it done for you when you ask him to do it. I'm with Wes. This is one that I would not touch. I would not be all over. If the Panthers had CMC, I would be very, very tempted to go with them. But I think at home on a touchdown spread, I would be, think almost to pick the Panthers for the spread if I was betting against the spread. But for a pick on, I'll begrudgingly go with the Chargers.
Yeah, I like against the spread for the. Sorry to interrupt, but I like them against the spread.
Yeah. Just with McCaffrey not being there, that's kind of the main decider for me in this game. And speaking of the Chargers, right? So I got some stats for you. So Josh Kelly, right? He ran 23 times last week for only 64 yards. Eckler ran 16 times for 92 yards. Eckler, to me, is clearly the better back. He's been there. We saw it last year in relief of Melvin Gordon. And this Anthony Lynn guy, man, I'll tell you what, in addition to the injuries this team has had, I think they messed up Anthony Lynn's head. I'm serious. He is all over the place. The Chargers, they're without an identity, I feel like, at this point. The coach doesn't know what he's doing. The coach doctor doesn't even know what he's doing. if Justin Herbert were starting, this is very easily a Chargers win. But, Tyrod doing Tyrod things. If he starts this week, he's going to squeak out a win for this team. That's his MO. He squeaks out wins. It's not pretty. It's not fantastic. But he squeaks out wins, and it's against the Panthers without McCaffrey. So I think the Chargers do take this one, especially being at home. On that note, let's move to another team ravaged by injuries. I'm sorry, Steve. We'll get to you here in just a second. But we got Tampa Bay traveling to Denver. Tampa Bay, a 6-point road favorite. Over-under set at 43. Steve, I know you got some thoughts here, but let's do a really quick recap. Drew Lock is out for at least a couple of weeks with a shoulder. Driscoll came in, didn't look terrible versus the Steelers, but still couldn't pick up the win. They lost Courtland Sutton for the season with a torn ACL. Denver appears they're going backwards, while Tampa Bay, they picked up their first dub last week versus the Panthers. Steve, take this one away.
I will say Driscoll did come out and look good. Unfortunately, our boy Drew Lock, he's down. He's on the shelf. He's hurt. It's very unfortunate. I thought I had very, very high hopes for this team, not only just being a fan, but just from what they've done. It looks like a repeat of last year. We've lost both games within one score. We lost by 3 and then 5 against a very good Steelers team that we had a chance to beat. The only thing is you cannot take a sack on 4th down. Throw that ball in the air. Like, who cares if it gets intercepted? Or if you throw it out of bounds, like, you gave it a shot, right? At that point, you're going to lose. Throw the ball up to someone. Do something. And it was very frustrating to watch. I did actually get to watch that game. They looked good. Driscoll had a great pass to Melvin Gordon in the touchdown, floated it right over top of the defender, caught it, touchdown. I think they stuck with the game plan well, try to run the ball. Unfortunately, Philip Lindsay is also hurt. AJ Boye is still hurt. We just put 4 people on IR. So I think, Boye is still on IR. So he is allegedly supposed to be able to come back in another week or 2. So he will be back. Our one rookie cornerback, he was exposed, but rookie quarterbacks, that happens. There's a lot of injuries. There's a lot of things going on right now with that team. I have high hopes for them when they get healthy. And I'm hoping they come back and do get healthy. Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler are looking very good. Noah Fant is on fire. I think he's 5th in the league for tight ends, for reception, for receiving yards and touchdowns. He looks great. They need to continue to lean on him. He's a big, fast guy. He's like my size. He's like 6'5", 250, but he runs like a 4.40. It's silly to watch a man that large run that fast. Like, it's ridiculous. And I just think with all those injuries, Tampa Bay, I think, looks like they're finally getting it together. Even if it is at home, it is the first home game that the Broncos will allow fans into the stadium. So I think that might help. I think they'll keep it close. I think 6 is too much. Originally, the line was at 3 until Drew Lock got hurt, and then obviously they adjusted it for the injuries. So I think it will be close. I think it will be in a score. So I would take this. I would take the Denver and the point spread, but I'll take Tampa for the win.
Nice. Okay. Dr. West, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I still am not convinced that Tampa's good. They've only beaten the Carolina Panthers, which is not saying anything. And I think this is kind of a trap game. I definitely would take the Broncos with the points. And just because I want to disagree with Steve a little bit, I'm going to take the Broncos. I just have this sneaking feeling that they're going to come out fired up. They have all these injured players. Everybody's writing them off. The season's over. Pack it in. I think they're gonna come out on fire.
Steve, imagine losing to Wes's Broncos pick when you didn't pick the Broncos.
Right. You know what? I tell you what. I'll be happy if that happens. I won't even be mad.
Oh, absolutely. Wes. Yeah, Broncos picking up their first win at home versus Tampa Bay. I don't see that happening.
Pooping all over Tom Brady again? I'm all about it.
Nah, Tom Brady's played in Denver enough to understand what goes on there. This Denver team, they're without Lock and Sutton. This is pretty easy for me. No Von Miller either to go harass Tom Brady. Give me the Bucs.
That's the problem. It's too obvious.
Give me the Bucs. Sorry,
fall
Wes.
for this
You-
every time, Anthony.
you're
How many
taking-
times you have to fall
You're
for the
taking the
obvious?
L here, my friend. I'm very sorry. Go Tampa Bay.
Accept it.
You always do this, Anthony.
We'll see. We'll see. You're probably right though. In all honesty,
When it's too obvious, you just can't go with it.
you're not wrong. You're 100% not wrong. Speaking of a game that might be a little too obvious here, we've got Detroit traveling to Arizona. Detroit's 0-2, Arizona's 2-0. Both teams going in opposite directions, it feels like. The over-under, look at that number, 55. 55. Oh, yes. But my beloved Arizona Cardinals, they are 2-0. One team, again, they've looked really good so far this season. Detroit and Matt Patricia, he's gone after, maybe halfway through this year. Detroit's look like garbage. Let's get right to the point here. Dr. West, who you got in this game?
I'm going to take Anthony's Arizona Cardinals. I agree that Matt Patricia finds way to lose games. Kyler Murray is just running around making an MVP campaign.
Him and Russ, man, for the NFC right now.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
It's
NFC
fun to
West
watch.
MVP candidates. It's awesome.
Yeah. So I think the Cardinals give it to him.
Yeah, Steve, who you got?
I think I'll use Wes's favorite word so far in this video. This looks like a trap game. Kyler has looked great. It's cool to see them come out and him to do well. It's cool to see, young, exciting players come into the league and develop and do well and not just, burn out or flake out. So it's cool to see that. I'm a big Matthew Stafford fan. I think that guy is so talented. Unfortunately, he got stuck in lowly Detroit to try, to do things with that team. No one wants that for anyone. I think Swift, the running back in Detroit, I think he'll slowly develop, come along. I think he's going to look really, really good. But I just think that the Cardinals are too much for these Lions. It is the Lions. I'm taking the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So you said it was a trap game, but then you still took the trap.
Correct.
Oh, yes. Okay.
I mean, you've done it. Why can't I do it?
Oh, I would not do that.
Getting back to Wes's point about what having a competent coach can get you. Look at Sam Darnold and the Jets right now compared to Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury, right? Like polar opposites. It's kind of insane what just having a good head coach. I'm not saying Cliff Kingsbury is fantastic. I think he knows what he's got and he's using it very well. Went out and got the piece that they were looking for with DeAndre Hopkins, and it is paying off in spades, honestly, at this point. Quick pick here, Arizona. Easy game, should roll. Give me minus 5.5, minus 7.5. I don't care. Arizona's putting up 35 points, and Detroit is going to struggle to put up 17 points this game.
Wow. Feeling confident.
I'm rolling with it. Speaking of the next game, though, 55, not even the highest point total on the slate. We've got Dallas traveling to Seattle. Dallas is very close to being 0-2. Meanwhile, Seattle, not a very comfortable 2-0. They've looked very, very good, though. The spread set at -5 for Seattle. Again, with an over-under at 55.5, the biggest on the slate. Russ has looked every bit of the league MVP so far the first 2 weeks. He's leading the league with 9 touchdown passes, seemingly to 9 different receivers, it feels like. They have so many weapons. But, Steve, can the Seahawks continue to roll? Or will Dallas have something to say about the game that they just had against Atlanta and continue their momentum after their miraculous win last week?
Trap game? Anyone? Trap game?
It's a trap.
I think, yeah,
It's a trap. I'm taking the trap.
pull up your best Admiral Akbar meme here, everybody. This is a trap game, but I don't know whichever way you think you should go, how you would describe it, but I think the Cowboys sneak out a win here.
Wow.
I think they're good. I think they're a good team. I think Seattle looks great, but I think Dallas just has a way of playing up to who they're playing. Like they play crappy against bad teams. They play great against good teams. I think McCarthy, I don't know what happened, but in that second half of that Falcons game, now I'm not saying that the Cowboys quote unquote won that game. I think the Falcons lost that game because that's what they do. But I think the Cowboys come out and they sneak one out.
To Steve's point about Dallas playing to their competition, they did lose to the Jets last year, so that totally makes sense. Like they played down versus the Jets and they lost. They turned it around versus Atlanta. So, Dr. West, are you agreeing with Steve here? Is this a trap game?
No, he's reading too much into the tea leaves. I mean, I'm feeling good about picking Seattle to win the NFC. They have looked really good on both sides of the ball. I think this isn't even going to be close, to be honest. I think Seattle is just going to blow the doors off Dallas.
Dallas escaped last week. Seattle's at home. I want to keep mine short and simple. Dallas doesn't quite show up here. Give me the Seahawks. That will take us to the mother monstrous Sunday night game we got here. We got the 2-0 Green Bay Packers traveling to the Superdome to take on the 1-1 New Orleans Saints. The Saints are a home favorite by more than a field goal, actually. 3.5-point home favorite. The game features two NFC heavyweights. Michael Thomas was sorely missed last week, and the Saints lost to the Raiders, while the Aaron Jones party was in full effect versus the Lions last week. With Michael Thomas still being a question mark for this week, Dr. West, can New Orleans get back on the winning side?
I don't know. They just lost to the Raiders, and I know that I just don't see it. Drew Brees looked like he couldn't even pass it farther than 15 yards downfield, and the Packers have just looked so good. Aaron Rodgers looks like he's Aaron Rodgers of 8 years ago, or
5 years ago.
Really, yeah. I'm going to take the Packers.
Steve, are you still differentiating from Dr. West here?
This is a tough one. This is a hard one to pick. I think Michael Thomas really is the big question mark here. If he plays, it's going to be close. I think it'll be close either way. Honestly, on this, I would take the over on the points. The spread, it's such a tough. They're both really good. I was really high on this thing, just for the sake of that. I will say Saints.
Saints. Sounds like you're begrudgingly taking the Saints here.
Yeah, I kind of am a little bit, but I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a high scoring game. I think Drew Brees, he's a crafty veteran. That guy's gonna, very rarely do they come out flat week to week, especially after a loss. When's the last time the Saints lost 2 in a row? It's been a while.
Yeah, I got some stats for you, actually. Y'all are going to like this. So, Green Bay, they are 15-3 in their last 18 regular season games. Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
On the flip side, New Orleans, they are an absolute force at home. They have only 5 losses in the Superdome over the past 3 years. Kind of insane. I am looking forward to this game. You know where I'm going to be on Sunday night. My butt's going to be on the couch. I'm watching this game. This game's going to be a lot of fun. I think 3.5 is perfect, honestly, because I have the Saints squeaking out a win by a field goal in what should be the highest scoring game of the week. I'm looking forward to this game, y'all. This is gonna be fun. I think Michael Thomas is going to be back. Sorry for the flickering lights that you all may see in the video. Really good stuff we got here. Good lighting that we got going on here in the studio. But I think New Orleans takes this one just barely. Very, very fun game, though. I'm very excited.
Huh. You guys are really going against me this week.
Yeah, we got to do something here, man. We got to do something.
I feel personally attacked by Steve.
You should.
I mean, was that like 12 out of 15 so far? You guys have been alternated or something like that? Something crazy?
Least.
I mean, it's gonna be good. Speaking of good, we got this Sunday night game, but how about this Monday night game, guys? Oh my gosh. We got Kansas City traveling to Baltimore. These two teams are now the 2 Vegas favorites to win the Super Bowl. They're both plus 500 per DraftKings Sportsbook, which is where all of our odds and lines come from. I am expecting some fireworks in this game. Not going to touch on the odds. Y'all can see them on the screen. Both teams come in looking pretty good. So, Steve, what do you expect to happen here on Monday Night Football?
This is a tough thing. I would assume Baltimore is the home favorite, right? You have +3 on.
Oh, that should be a minus. Yep, I'm literally gonna fire my editor.
Okay.
He sucks.
Get rid of your editor. Get him out of here. So they, if I'm not mistaken, they played in Baltimore last year, correct? And the Ravens won. I don't see any reason why, if that's not the case, I know the Ravens did beat the Chiefs. I don't see any reason why that would be different. It's going to be a great game. 2 great Monday night games. Good job, NFL schedulers for this. I'm going to take the Ravens in this one. There's no particular reason why, other than they're both looking great, and the Ravens are the home team, and that's my pick.
Dr. West, will the differentiation continue here?
No, I'm agreeing with Steve.
Woo!
Woo!
I think that the Chiefs D is they did not look good. They had Justin Herbert just taking them to task, and I haven't seen a weakness with the Ravens yet. They look so good. Lamar, I don't know how you guard against him. I think he's improved from last year. His passing looks better, and he's still obviously a dynamic threat. And I think this will be a freaking shootout, and I'm really excited to watch it. But I think the Ravens will win.
Yeah, I want this game to be the Rams-Chiefs from, what was it, last year? 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I want this game to be like that. I am looking forward to this. I will say, though, Kansas City did struggle on the road versus the Chargers last week, and now they're going on the road again in Baltimore. They made Justin Herbert look fantastic last week, which he still could be fantastic. While the Baltimore, they're playing with purpose, right? They had 38 versus the Browns, 33 versus the Texans, solely because Kansas City's traveling again, and they struggled versus Herbert last week. Baltimore... Oops, I put Kansas City there because I said Kansas City. I apologize. My pick is the Ravens. This should be the first game between these two this year, I feel like. I am looking forward to this game. I'm looking forward to them playing again in the AFC Championship. But Baltimore gets the upper hand for the 1 seed in the AFC with this win, and we have a clean sweep of the Ravens here on Monday Night Football. I'm looking forward. Both Sunday night and Monday night games look fantastic. Very, very excited for both of those games. So, on that note, then, that takes us to our Survivor picks, where, as you can see, Dr. Wes still alive, whereas me and Steve squalor in the depths of, a loss on week 1. Thanks, stupid Colts and stupid Eagles. So Steve, who are you taking for a Survivor this week?
You know what? I'll prove Wes right for at least one time this week, and I will go with the Colts.
Wow. Okay, agreeing with Dr. Wes's take on the game. Dr. Wes, who are you taking this week?
I'm glad he took the Colts because I didn't want to. I mean, I wanted to, but it just seems too obvious, like I said. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
Well, then. Funny you mentioned that, Dr. Wes.
Don't do this to me.
I am not going to. Give me you're taking my team, my Arizona Cardinals. They're going up against Detroit at home, right? The Arizona Cardinals are at home against Detroit. I'm sorry. There's no way they lose that game, right? Wink, wink.
Oh, God.
Let's see if we can get Wes out of the Survivor pool here. I will take 2 losses if that's the case. I'm okay with that. Dr. Wes, to stay alive, you have to go with my pick. How's that make you feel?
Not great.
Dirty.
All right.
It's dirty that you'd put that curse upon me.
You're welcome. You enjoy that. Make you ponder on that for the next couple of days until Sunday.
I want to keep picking last. I think I've picked last the last couple of weeks, and I've avoided your guys' picks.
Yeah, not this week.
Sorry, nerd.
I picked it last this week, and I picked the Cardinals. Anyways, guys, that'll just about do it. We're going to try to keep this a little bit under an hour here. Thank you for tuning in. If you got to this point, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We're still looking for suggestions on the penalty for whoever comes in last for our pick'ems. We've had a couple suggestions, this is a good one, guys. Ready for this? A 12-hour Waffle House challenge. You know what that is?
No.
So you go to Waffle House for 12 hours, but every waffle you eat takes an hour off of how long you have to stay there for. So it's not the full 24 hours, which is what the game is originally, made of, but a 12-hour Waffle House challenge. How do you guys feel about that?
I would eat 12 waffles and just leave.
Have you seen how big they are, though? They're not tiny.
I would eat 12 waffles and leave.
I mean, technically, you just have to eat 11. If you could eat 11 in an hour, you'd be okay.
Right. I mean, have you met me, Anthony? Let's be real here.
That's touche, man.
You guys have seen me tear up a pizza though at the draft.
That is very true. Wes ripped.
Speaking of that, Wes, I was the only one who okayed your trade. So
yeah.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that later. Anyways, guys, if you like the video, we really appreciate it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe. We're gonna have a show every single week. We got other stuff coming out to you guys. So really appreciate you watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Yeah.